Listen closely. The fastest way to lose power is to react. That's how men are broken. One insult and they explode. One provocation and they reveal everything. Reaction is exposure. It hands your enemies the blueprint to your weaknesses. Machiavelli understood this with brutal clarity. The man who cannot govern his emotions is already governed by others. Rage makes you reckless. Fear makes you compliant. Desire makes you exploitable. Reaction is slavery dressed as strength, and most men are slaves without even realizing it. But the man who does not react, that man terrifies the room. His silence becomes unbearable. His calm becomes intimidating. His refusal to be baited forces others into frustration, into mistakes. When you do not react, you control the rhythm of the game. You decide when to strike, and by then, it's too late for them to recover. Understand this. Restraint is not weakness. It is power sharpened to its coldest edge. The one who reacts first loses. The one who waits, who watches, who decides, always wins. Write it now in the comments. My silence is my weapon. Prove you've grasped this truth. 2. The psychology of triggers. Every man has a trigger, an insult to his pride, a challenge to his ego, a temptation that blinds him. And the moment that trigger is pulled, he loses control. He stops thinking, starts reacting, and his opponent takes command. This is how most men are broken, not by force, but by manipulation. A whisper in the right ear, a carefully timed insult, a false promise of desire. And suddenly, they are not men of reason. They are puppets of emotion. Their strings are pulled, and they dance without even knowing it. Machiavelli understood that to control others, you don't need to chain them, you just need to know their triggers. And the inverse is just as true. If you master your own triggers, you become untouchable. No one can bait you, no one can predict you, no one can use your own emotions against you. Ask yourself, what sets you off? What makes you reckless? What makes you weak? Identify it, then kill it. The less you react, the more power you command. The fewer triggers you have, the harder you are to control. The man with no obvious triggers is dangerous because he is unreadable. You cannot provoke what you cannot touch. Write this in the comments now. I kill my triggers before they kill me. Let it anchor in your mind. 3. Emotional control as a weapon. Most men see emotional control as a shield, something passive, something defensive. They think it's about suppressing anger, hiding fear, disguising desire. That is only the surface. The truth is far more lethal. Emotional control is not just defense, it is a weapon. When you can control your emotions, you can use them strategically. You can project calm when others expect panic. You can feign interest when you feel nothing. You can display anger not because you've lost it, but because you choose to use it. Controlled emotion is theater, and you are the director. Everyone else, they're the actors stumbling on your stage. Machiavelli wrote that appearances are often more important than reality. A ruler may not be merciful, but he must appear merciful. He may not be courageous, but he must appear courageous. This is the art you must master, wielding your emotions like tools, choosing which mask to wear, which fire to show, and which to keep hidden. Think about it. When you show no reaction to insult, you look invincible. When you laugh in the face of threats, you look untouchable. When you remain calm while others collapse, people begin to believe you cannot be broken. That belief is power, and it spreads faster than truth. Control your emotions, and you control perception. Control perception, and you control the game. Emotional mastery is not about feeling nothing. It is about ensuring your feelings never expose you, only strengthen you. Comment this right now. I wield my emotions as weapons. Let everyone know you understand this principle. 4. The strength of cold silence. Words are powerful, but silence is terrifying. Most men cannot stand silence. It exposes them. It makes them uncomfortable, anxious, desperate to fill the void. They reveal themselves in their need to speak, their compulsion to explain, their inability to endure stillness. That is why silence, when wielded correctly, is not absence, it is dominance. Machiavelli knew that a ruler should never reveal more than necessary. The less he speaks, the more others wonder. The less he reveals, the more others speculate. And speculation is often more dangerous than truth. Silence makes you unpredictable, and unpredictability makes you powerful. When you refuse to react with words, you force others to drown in their own noise. Insults lose power. Manipulators lose leverage. Enemies lose clarity. They cannot measure a man who does not give them feedback. They cannot anticipate a man who refuses to reveal his thoughts. Your silence becomes a weapon that unsettles even the strongest opponent. Think of the courtroom where one man rages, explains, justifies, and the other sits calm, silent, unmoved. Who looks stronger, the one with words or the one who doesn't need them? Power is often measured not by how much you say, but by how much you can hold back. Silence also magnifies timing. When you finally choose to speak, every word carries more weight. People lean in, they remember it, because silence has trained them to pay attention. This is why rulers, generals, and leaders of consequence often spoke rarely, but when they did, nations moved. Your cold silence is not weakness. It is a shield. It is a mirror that forces others to expose themselves. And it is a blade, because silence creates tension, and tension is power. Understand this. You do not owe the world a reaction. You do not owe enemies your anger or rivals your explanations. You owe them nothing but your presence. And sometimes that presence alone is enough to dominate. So practice it. In conflict, stay silent longer than feels comfortable. In provocation, resist the urge to respond. Train yourself until silence becomes second nature, until it feels stronger than speech. Comment this phrase right now. My silence breaks the weak. Prove you've grasped the weight of this principle. 5. Breaking the enemy through composure. Composure is not calmness for its own sake. It is a weapon, a psychological strike that cuts deeper than rage ever could. Most men crumble under stress. Their voices shake, their words stumble, their emotions spill over like a leaking vessel. They betray themselves in the very moment they need strength the most. But the man who remains composed under fire, he breaks enemies without lifting a hand. Machiavelli knew that the appearance of strength is often more valuable than strength itself. When you are composed in crisis, you project control. Even if chaos surrounds you, people believe you are unshaken. That belief alone makes others hesitate. Your enemy begins to doubt. Your allies begin to trust. Your composure shifts the battlefield before a single move is made. Consider this. When someone insults you, they expect a reaction. They want you to fight, to defend, to explode. If you react, you give them exactly what they want. You validate their control. But if you remain composed, if you look at them as if their words are beneath your notice, you shatter their confidence. Their power dissolves because they cannot affect you. Nothing breaks a man faster than realizing he has no influence. This is the psychology of composure. It drains your enemy's energy while protecting yours. It forces them into frustration, into mistakes. They lash out harder, exposing weaknesses. And you wait, you watch. You strike only when it serves you. Composure is also magnetic. People are drawn to those who seem untouchable, those who remain steady when others shake. It signals leadership, dominance, reliability. When men panic, they look for the one who is calm. When men falter, they follow the one who stands unshaken. Your composure becomes influence because in a storm, everyone seeks the one who does not bend. But understand this. Composure must be trained. It will not appear in crisis if you do not cultivate it daily. Practice holding stillness in discomfort. Face provocation without response. Train yourself to breathe when your instincts scream to react. Each time you do, you sharpen the weapon of composure, and when you finally wield it, you will see its power. Enemies will break themselves against your calm. Allies will rally around your presence. Rivals will avoid direct confrontation, because your composure makes them feel exposed, vulnerable, unprepared. This is how you win without fighting, by being the one who never loses control. So remember, rage burns quickly, fear crumbles instantly, but composure is eternal. It survives storms, it commands respect, and it breaks enemies from the inside out. Comment this phrase below. My composure is my dominance. Engrave it in your mind, because once you master it, you will be untouchable. 6. Detachment as a shield and sword. Attachment is the chain that binds men to weakness. The more you cling, the more you suffer. The more you depend, the more you can be controlled. Your emotions betray you when you are tied to outcomes, to approval, to people. This is why detachment is not just protection, it is both shield and sword. Machiavelli understood this clearly. The ruler who clings too tightly to affection, possessions, or even allies is vulnerable. Rivals can threaten what he fears to lose. Enemies can bait him through what he cannot release. But the ruler who is detached cannot be cornered. He holds power because nothing holds power over him. Detachment as a shield means you cannot be manipulated. They insult you, yet you do not break, because their words have no hold. They tempt you with pleasure, yet you do not bend, because desire does not own you. They threaten to take away what you have, yet you remain steady, because you have already let go within. When you detach from outcomes, the world's leverage against you evaporates. You become dangerous because you cannot be trapped. But detachment is also a sword. When you wield it actively, you control others. You act not out of desperation, but strategy. You offer your attention sparingly and people chase it. You withdraw your presence and they panic. You stay calm where others cling and it unsettles them. Detachment creates scarcity, and scarcity breeds value. What you withhold becomes more powerful than what you give. Think of the man who shows no desperation in negotiations. He can walk away at any moment, and because of that, he commands better terms. Think of the warrior who fights without fear of death. His enemies hesitate because they realize he has already accepted what they still fear. This is detachment turned into a weapon. The average man is enslaved by his attachments. He seeks validation from others, so he conforms. He fears losing comfort, so he avoids risk. He craves approval, so he reacts. And each attachment becomes a leash, each leash held by someone stronger than him. But if you learn detachment, you cut the leashes one by one. You free yourself from the illusions that bind ordinary men. You move as you choose, not as your fears dictate. That freedom makes you untouchable. Detachment does not mean apathy. It does not mean you feel nothing. It means you choose what deserves your energy. It means you invest only where it strengthens you. It means you hold everything with an open hand, so nothing can enslave you. When you master this, people will notice. They will sense that you are different. They will test you, try to pull reactions from you, try to find your weakness. But when they fail, they will fear you. And when they respect you, they will follow you. Remember this, attachment makes you predictable. Detachment makes you unreadable. And unreadable men are the most dangerous of all. So write it now. Detachment is my power. Etch it into your mind, because once you wield detachment as both shield and sword, you become unbreakable. 6. Detachment as a shield and sword. Attachment is the chain that binds men to weakness. The more you cling, the more you suffer. The more you depend, the more you can be controlled. Your emotions betray you when you are tied to outcomes, to approval, to people. This is why detachment is not just protection, it is both shield and sword. Machiavelli understood this clearly. The ruler who clings too tightly to affection, possessions, or even allies is vulnerable. Rivals can threaten what he fears to lose. Enemies can bait him through what he cannot release. But the ruler who is detached cannot be cornered. He holds power because nothing holds power over him. Detachment as a shield means you cannot be manipulated. They insult you, yet you do not break because their words have no hold. They tempt you with pleasure, yet you do not bend because desire does not own you. They threaten to take away what you have, yet you remain steady because you have already let go within. When you detach from outcomes, the world's leverage against you evaporates. You become dangerous because you cannot be trapped. But detachment is also a sword. When you wield it actively, you control others. You act not out of desperation, but strategy. You offer your attention sparingly and people chase it. You withdraw your presence and they panic. You stay calm where others cling and it unsettles them. Detachment creates scarcity and scarcity breeds value. What you withhold becomes more powerful than what you give. Think of the man who shows no desperation in negotiations. He can walk away at any moment, and because of that, he commands better terms. Think of the warrior who fights without fear of death. His enemies hesitate because they realize he has already accepted what they still fear. This is detachment turned into a weapon. The average man is enslaved by his attachments. He seeks validation from others, so he conforms. He fears losing comfort, so he avoids risk. He craves approval, so he reacts. And each attachment becomes a leash, each leash held by someone stronger than him. But you, if you learn detachment, you cut the leashes one by one. You free yourself from the illusions that bind ordinary men. You move as you choose, not as your fears dictate. That freedom makes you untouchable. Detachment does not mean apathy. It does not mean you feel nothing. It means you choose what deserves your energy. It means you invest only where it strengthens you. It means you hold everything with an open hand so nothing can enslave you. When you master this, people will notice. They will sense that you are different. They will test you, try to pull reactions from you, try to find your weakness. But when they fail, they will fear you. And when they respect you, they will follow you. Remember this: attachment makes you predictable. Detachment makes you unreadable. And unreadable men are the most dangerous of all. So write it now. Detachment is my power. Etch it into your mind, because once you wield detachment as both shield and sword, you become unbreakable. 7. Mastering the art of controlled anger. Anger is fire. Left uncontrolled, it consumes everything: your focus, your dignity, your strategy. Most men are slaves to it. Insult them and they roar. Challenge them and they swing wildly. Their enemies don't even need to fight, they only need to provoke. That is why uncontrolled anger is weakness, but controlled anger, that is power. Anger mastered is like fire contained within a forge. It can melt steel, it can create weapons, it can fuel you without destroying you. The difference between the ordinary man and the powerful one is simple. The ordinary man is owned by his rage. The powerful man owns it. Machiavelli understood that a ruler should not show his heart recklessly. A ruler's anger, when displayed, must be deliberate, calculated, and purposeful. Never wasted, never chaotic. When anger is strategic, it becomes a weapon of intimidation. It unsettles those who face it because it is rare, precise, and overwhelming when unleashed. Controlled anger is not about hiding fury, it is about directing it. You do not erupt when insulted. You do not lash out when challenged. Instead, you store that fire. You sharpen it. You let it build as fuel for your discipline, your focus, your mission. And when you choose to release it, it devastates everything in its path. Think of the commander who loses his temper in front of his soldiers. He looks weak, unstable, easy to provoke. His men lose faith. His enemies laugh. But think of the commander who rarely raises his voice, who endures insult after insult without reaction, and then, at the right time, explodes with precise fury. That man is feared because his anger is not emotion, it is punishment. Your goal is to reach that level, where your anger is not a reflex, but a decision, where your fire is not scattered, but aimed like a weapon, where people know, if you are provoked into wrath, it was not because you lost control, it was because you chose to deliver judgment. This mastery requires training. First, discipline yourself to pause when fury rises. Count it, breathe it, lock it down. Let your enemy believe they have struck a nerve, while inside you remain still. Then, channel that anger into action that serves you, into building, training, creating, advancing. Let the fire fuel your empire, not burn it. When you master controlled anger, you terrify your rivals, because they realize they cannot use their favorite weapon, provocation, against you. They see that your rage is not their toy, but your sword, and they will hesitate to test you again. Understand this: uncontrolled anger is predictable. Controlled anger is unpredictable, and unpredictability is power. Comment this phrase below: my anger obeys me. Let those words carve themselves into you, because until your anger serves you, you will serve it. 8. The ruthlessness of timing. Power is not only what you do, it is when you do it. Timing is the invisible blade that cuts down kings and elevates nobodies. Act too early, and you waste your energy. Act too late, and the opportunity rots in your hands. Master timing, and you appear unstoppable, as if destiny itself bends to your will. Impatience is the weakness of ordinary men. They crave immediacy. They leap before the ground is steady. They speak before the silence has worked its power. They strike before the enemy is exposed. And in doing so, they bleed out their own advantage. Their defeat is not caused by lack of strength, but lack of patience. Machiavelli observed that fortune favors the bold, but boldness must be fused with calculation. Boldness without strategy is suicide. The predator does not strike the moment prey appears. It waits, it studies, it stalks until the prey wanders into the exact position where escape is impossible. Then, and only then, it moves, swift, decisive, final. This is the essence of ruthless timing. To wait is not weakness. To wait is to gather strength, to sharpen the blade, to watch the battlefield reveal its flaws. You let your rivals overextend themselves. You allow your enemies to burn their energy, expose their weaknesses, exhaust their strategies. Then, when they are blind, vulnerable, and tired, you strike. Silence itself is timing. Words spoken too soon fall flat. Words spoken at the perfect moment reshape perception, command attention, and echo like thunder. This is why rulers of consequence spoke rarely. When they finally chose to break silence, the weight of timing made their words unforgettable. Timing also governs alliances. Approach too early, and you reveal your need. Approach too late, and the opportunity is gone. But approach at the perfect moment, when your presence is most valuable, and you command loyalty on your terms. Patience demands sacrifice. You must kill your craving for immediate validation. You must resist the urge to move just because the wait is uncomfortable. Every moment of restraint adds to your power. Every delay sharpens your strike. When you finally act, the world mistakes your preparation for inevitability. They call it luck. It was not luck, it was timing. Your rivals will call you slow. They will laugh as you sit silent. Let them. Their laughter will choke when your strike arrives too fast for them to defend. Understand this: time is your ally if you can endure it. But if you let time control you, if you grow restless, it becomes your enemy. Comment this phrase now: I strike only when the time is mine. Burn it into yourself, because ruthless timing separates the untouchable from the broken. 9. The architecture of power expansion. Power never remains still. It either grows or it decays. The man who holds his ground, who rests satisfied, who chooses comfort over conquest, is already falling. Power is motion, constant, relentless, disciplined expansion. To pause is to surrender. Machiavelli warned that rulers collapse not when they are weak, but when they grow complacent. Expansion is survival. You must always be building, advancing, carving your influence deeper into the world. Power expands like an empire, territory by territory, brick by brick, until it becomes unshakable. Expansion begins with the self. If you cannot expand your own mind, your own strength, your own discipline, you cannot expand anything else. Knowledge is your first empire. Read the strategies of history, the psychology of men, the laws of power. Learn how others rose, and more importantly, how they fell. Each page adds a weapon to your arsenal, each lesson a fortress in your mind. Next comes resources. Wealth is not the goal, but the lever. It buys time, independence, influence. The man without resources is always dependent, always vulnerable, always chained to another's command. But the man who builds resources controls his own fate, and often the fate of others. Then comes influence. Influence is the invisible empire. It spreads without armies, without weapons. It is built on perception, reputation, and presence. People must see you as reliable in discipline, formidable in strength, dangerous when crossed. Influence allows you to move men without lifting a finger, to command loyalty without demanding it, to bend the game without showing your hand. Physical strength cannot be ignored. Your body is the first fortress. A weak body betrays a weak will. A strong, disciplined body radiates control. It is not vanity. It is proof. Proof that you master yourself. Proof that you can endure. Proof that you are not soft. When others falter under strain, you will endure, and endurance itself becomes a weapon. Finally, expansion of dominion. Whatever field you enter, business, politics, leadership, creation, do not settle for a corner. Push borders outward. Advance with patience, with precision, but always advance. Small victories compound into empires. Minor gains become unstoppable when repeated with consistency. But beware, reckless expansion destroys. Many men grow too fast, chasing glory, without building foundations. They collapse under their own weight. Expansion must be deliberate, each victory secured, each position fortified before moving forward. Build like an architect, not a gambler. Expansion also demands enemies. Without resistance, you cannot sharpen your blade. Without rivals, you cannot prove your dominance. Do not fear opposition. Welcome it. Each enemy is a stepping stone. Each challenge, a chance to carve your name deeper into history. And understand this, your expansion is not just external, it must also be internal. If you remain the same man year after year, you are stagnant. If you evolve, harsher, sharper, wiser, you are alive. A man who expands inwardly and outwardly becomes unstoppable because he grows in every direction at once. Rome did not become an empire by standing still. It absorbed, adapted, conquered. But when Rome stopped expanding, it rotted. The same fate awaits any man who halts his ambition. The moment you believe you've arrived, another man begins climbing past you. So feed your ambition, push your borders, harden your will, build your empire, stone by stone, choice by choice, day by day. Comment this phrase now: my power expands without end. Write it and mean it, because in this game, to stop moving is to start dying. 10. The untouchable legacy. All power, all discipline, all strategy leads here, legacy, because if your strength dies with you, it was never power, it was noise. A flash of lightning, brilliant for a moment, gone the next. True power does not vanish. True power outlives the body. It echoes, it endures, it becomes legend. Machiavelli knew this truth. He studied rulers who rose, ruled, and fell. Most were forgotten, a few became eternal. Why? Because they left a mark that could not be erased. They shaped not only their time, but the times that followed. That is legacy. Ask yourself, what will remain of you? Will your name dissolve into dust, lost in the endless swarm of mediocrity? Or will it carry weight? Will it be spoken with caution, with respect, with awe, even in your absence? Legacy is not built by accident. It is engineered. It is carved with deliberate action, with ruthless consistency. Every decision you make is a brick in your monument. Every word, every silence, every victory, every restraint adds or subtracts from what will be remembered. Weak men think only of survival. Strong men think in centuries. Legacy is not comfort. It is not safety. It demands sacrifice. It demands that you bleed for something greater than your immediate desires. It demands that you put aside petty distractions and build something that will outlast you. That may be wealth. That may be influence. That may be an empire of ideas. But whatever form it takes, it must be undeniable. Understand this. Legacy requires enemies. Without opposition, there is no story. Without resistance, there is no greatness. Alexander was remembered because he conquered. Caesar because he reshaped Rome. Machiavelli because he exposed brutal truths no one wanted to hear. Each of them faced hatred, betrayal, attempts to erase them, and yet they endured. Hatred only sharpens legacy. Attempts to silence only amplify it. Legacy also demands detachment. You cannot build for eternity if you are chained to momentary approval. You cannot care whether the weak understand you. Legacy is not about being liked. It is about being unforgettable. It is about becoming a reference point, a man others measure themselves against, even long after you are gone. This is the final principle. Your life is the battlefield, but your shadow is eternity. Every move you make is judged twice, first in the moment, then in history. Many men are praised in their time and forgotten after. A few are hated in their time and immortal after. Which will you be? Do not settle for survival. Do not settle for being another face in the crowd. Build your fortress of legacy. Build it brick by brick. Self-mastery, discipline, perception, silence, patience, expansion. All of it points here. Without legacy, the rest dies with you. With legacy, the rest becomes immortal. Imagine this. A century from now, your name is spoken. Men you will never meet draw strength from your example. Enemies who despised you are long gone, but your image still looms over time. That is the untouchable legacy. And here is the paradox. Legacy is not sought directly. You do not beg for remembrance. You live with such force, such precision, such intensity, that remembrance becomes inevitable. You etch your name into stone not by asking, but by being impossible to ignore. So ask yourself now, what are you building? A life of comfort, forgotten as quickly as it passes? Or a monument of strength, a name carved into eternity? Your choice is the difference between being dust and being legend. Comment this right now. I build a legacy that cannot die. Write it, declare it, and then live it. And if these words struck you, if they cut through your excuses and lit something inside you, then your work begins now. Like this video, subscribe to Mental Fort, turn on notifications, because here we sharpen the mind into a fortress. Here we prepare men not just to live, but to leave a mark that cannot be erased. The world forgets most men. Make sure you are not one of them.